Hello everyone and welcome to our hot takes for the month of July. This is a monthly series where we take a bunch of movies we saw in theaters over the course of a month and we review them as fast as possible and hopefully make some recommendations.
You know, so when you have modern,
but the sun,
futuristic, I'm not concerned about the specifics, sir.
Right.
Whoopie-dee scoop, scoop-dee-dee whoop, whoop-dee-scoop-dee poop.
I feel like the only positive thing that Hotel Transylvania 3 has is its animation. Characters feel very fluid and it is very pleasing to the eye for the most part. Everything else is just whatever. It goes by really fast, which is a good thing because Adam Sandler is super annoying as Dracula. Every time he talks, you just want to punch him in the face. His voice is so irritating. Ugh. The movie could be used to shut kids up for about an hour and a half, but if you're looking for substance, you won't find it here. It's predictable and a waste of time. 3 out of 10.
I'm not concerned about the specifics, sir.
Right.
Whoopie-dee scoop, scoop-dee-dee whoop, whoop-dee-scoop-dee poop.
The Equalizer 2 is weird. First of all, why is this the movie Denzel decided to be his first sequel? Second, why did The Boy from Moonlight decide this should be his next big movie after the Best Picture win? Strange. Anyway, this film doesn't even really begin until about an hour through it. We are presented with a bunch of setup and weird situations of the Equalizer equalizing and helping a bumblefuck of random citizens. None of them matter, as we see none of them later in the actual story. It is so weird. Denzel also has that weird joke about being someone's daddy, and it's just super awkward. It's not funny, so like why? Did he improv this joke? Was Anton Fuqua like, "Good work, Denzel, you are art"? I don't understand. When the film does begin, we are presented with action scenes that make no sense and characters that we do not care anything about. Chloe Grace, my wife, was at least in the last movie, and she gave Denzel motivation or whatever, so he could go equalize. But in this movie, nothing happens. Oh, my friend died because she was involved in a super secret spy stuff. I have to avenge her. Avengers. Whatever. It's dumb. 3 out of 10.
I'm not concerned about the specifics, sir.
Right.
Whoopie-dee scoop, scoop-dee-dee whoop, whoop-dee-scoop-dee poop.
It's dumb, like really dumb. Like how can a paraplegic man do any of these freaking things kind of dumb? But it's a good munch turn your brain off summer popcorn flick. There's actually not much to say except don't expect much out of this film. Like at all, don't expect anything out of it, like at all. Just go into it and be like, alright, like this is a thing. I bet Chinese audiences will love it. It probably has already made $1 billion in China. 4 out of 10.
I'm not concerned about the specifics, sir.
Right.
Whoopie-dee scoop, scoop-dee-dee whoop, whoop-dee-scoop-dee poop.
Ant-Man and the Wasp is Marvel's worst, most forgettable film since Thor 2 The Dark Thor in IMAX 2D. This movie is so goddamn all over the place, with a forgettable villain, cringeworthy awful dialogue, and a story so boring and predictable that I felt myself wanting to actually go to sleep. I really can't remember the last time a Marvel film made me want to fall asleep. You know exactly how everything will play out, and they make you wait through the credits to see something that you have already seen in the trailer. I really want Edgar Wright to come back and actually make an Ant-Man film. It would be lit. This movie's a 4 out of 10.
Ant-Man and the Wasp is easily the most inconsequential and poorly edited film in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. The only thing that matters is the post-credit scene, which easily could have been one of the post-credit scenes for Infinity War, but whatever. Disney's gotta make that bread. Evangeline Lilly seemed like she was the only person who really gave a shit, and that's basically it. And I'm giving Ant-Man and the Wasp a 5 out of 10.
I'm not concerned about the specifics, sir.
Right.
Whoopie-dee scoop, scoop-dee-dee whoop, whoop-dee-scoop-dee poop.
I am not exaggerating when I say that Teen Titans Go to the Movies is my favorite movie of the year so far. Sure, it can be a lot at times, but as an avid DC fan, the jokes and meta humor about the current state of the company actually had me rolling. People seem to be comparing this to Deadpool, and I think that this may be a stretch, but this is sort of better than Deadpool in my opinion. In those films, the jokes were just said and come up randomly and didn't really add much. It is sort of like an episode of Family Guy, but with Teen Titans Go to the Movies, the jokes actually relate to the overall story. They aren't said just to have a quick chuckle. They are integral to the overall plot, and I also love the commentary on Hollywood and the bombardment of superhero movies in this film. The writers seem to literally be my Twitter account, and I absolutely love it. If you are not used to how wacky and childish the TV show is, this film could come off as annoying, but if you know what to expect, you'll have a great time and a great laugh. 8 out of 10.
Teen Titans Go was pretty funny, but other than that, the movie doesn't really need to exist. It could have easily been an episode of Teen Titans Go. The animation quality isn't great because Warner Brothers hasn't given a shit since 1992, but I guess they try to make up for it with a little stylistic variety. It was pretty meta, which I guess means that it's a good movie in internet language, but I don't see what this movie does that Deadpool or Deadpool 2 didn't already do. Like I said, this could have easily been an episode of Teen Titans Go, or a multiple episode arc instead of a feature-length film with a theatrical release. It just seems unnecessary if you ask me. Again, although I did laugh a good amount, films, even comedies, aren't stand-up specials. They're films. And I'm giving this film a 6 out of 10. 7, maybe a 5, but I don't know. Probably won't see this again, so that might influence my score, but whatever. Ugh.
I'm not concerned about the specifics, sir.
Right.
Whoopie dee scoop. Scoop dee dee whoop. Whoop dee scoop dee poop.
Blindspotting was pretty good, and I've never said this about a film before in my life, but I think this film would have been better off as a play. It's very theatrical in its presentation, and it has a lot of actory things that would make you assume that the two main actors wrote the screenplay. Oh wait, they did. It has a nice blend of darkness and levity. It touches on stuff that a lot of these socially conscious films have been touching on recently, but this film does it in a way that feels fresh, and even to a point where the audience might disconnect from the film out of sheer uncomfortability, especially at the end. But again, I feel like that wouldn't be an issue if it was a play and not a film. But it is a film, and it's pretty good, and it's entertaining, and I'm giving Blindspotting a 7 out of 10.
I'm not concerned about the specifics, sir.
Right.
Whoopie dee scoop. Scoop dee dee whoop. Whoop dee scoop dee poop.
Sorry to bother you, but let's talk about a film that's fucking crazy for no reason, but is great and that has a story that's unpredictable and funny and different. God damn. This movie is so refreshing. I absolutely had a great time with it. It is probably the most what the fuck movie of the year, with its unpredictable third act. I have to admit, I was not really a fan of that, as it felt super weird and completely took me out of the movie. Sure, it's different and new, but it is so out of left field, like so crazy. If you've seen the trailer and you're like, oh wow, this movie looks cool, let me tell you, you have no idea what you're getting into. After I saw the film, a bunch of audience members, including my parents, felt that it was stupid, and I do somewhat agree. The film starts off super strong and pulls you into its story and developed characters, but once that moment happens, it lost me. It did so well up until that point, and I get that it was trying to convey whatever message about whatever, but it lost me. I also was not a fan of the white people voice, as some of it did not match the mouths of the black people talking. It was funny at first, but I was like, they should have tried harder. All in all, the story is interesting, and the characters are just as interesting. I was a big fan of Tessa Thompson, but I feel like I will always like her because she is a queen. The camera work is phenomenal. This definitely isn't a movie for everyone. You'll watch it and be like, what the fuck, and it could ruin your day. But it didn't ruin mine, because it was different and I like different. I'm giving Sorry to Bother You a 7 out of 10.
Here's another socially conscious film like Blindspotting, but Boots Riley decides to go about it in the complete opposite way. It's so raw, disorganized, wacky, and abrasive that you can't look away from what's happening. It's irreverent and self-aware, but not in like a character looks at the camera and winks kind of way. But it's a film that feels a lot like a slam poetry performance, and yet has a scene where a character gives a slam poetry type performance and requests that people throw stuff at her head. The white voice thing is something so obvious that I'm surprised this is the first film to do it, and I think it's executed amazingly. Side note, I don't really know if this is the first film to implement the white voice, but I feel like it is. I don't know. I've seen almost 2,000 films, so like, I don't know. Armie Hammer gives another thankless performance, further proving he can do anything and knock it out of the park. Everything after we meet his character is endlessly fascinating and makes me want to watch the movie again. I wish the whole film had that same intrigue leading up to it. There are certain plot lines that are so predictable and inconsequential to the whole that I feel like it was there just to be like, it's a movie and not an experimental art piece on society today. But, you know, whatever. I feel like if it wasn't there, nobody would miss it, and I would probably like the film a lot more and appreciate it. And I'm giving Sorry to Bother You a 7 out of 10.
I'm not concerned about the specifics, sir.
Right.
Whoopie dee scoop. Scoop dee dee whoop. Whoop dee scoop dee poop.
8th Grade is the first feature film from acclaimed stand-up comedian, musician, viner, and YouTuber Bo Burnham. If you haven't seen his Netflix stand-up specials, What and Make Happy, I would definitely recommend them because they are hilarious and amazing. And if you are one of the few who don't have Netflix, he posted the specials in full on his YouTube channel. And you're on YouTube right now, so there's no excuse. Anyway, 8th Grade is pretty great. You get it? 8th Grade. It feels exactly like a Bo Burnham comedy special in that it's cringy and hilarious, but it has this small layer of sadness, isolation, and longing underneath. As someone who posts YouTube videos on a regular basis and tells no one about it, it's incredibly relatable. The way the characters interact with technology doesn't feel like old people trying to pander to teenagers, although there are multiple scenes in the movie where older people try to pander to teenagers, and it's fucking hilarious. It all feels authentic. Even to have all the actors play their age and not people in their early to mid-20s with 5 o'clock shadows like 13 Reasons Why. It's really sad that I have to celebrate a film for doing things that every film in this genre should be doing, but here we are. The only real negatives I have are that the ending is sort of what I expected it to be, and it wasn't as visually satisfying as I hoped it would, seeing as though his stand-ups are rife with visual variety. Overall, this film makes you feel good, and I wish this film came out when I was in 8th grade because I definitely needed it then. And I'm giving 8th Grade an 8 out of 10. You get it? 8th Grade, 8 out of 10. It's great.
8th Grade is so great. This movie is so cute and so relatable and so cringeworthy, but in a good way. It really is something that needs to be seen to fully understand. I absolutely love Elsie Fisher. She's such a great actress, and I can't wait to see what she does in her future. Bo Burnham directed the shit out of this movie, and he does so effortlessly. This movie shows what exactly it's like to go through 8th grade, and although I never was a young teenage girl, I feel like after actually talking to women about this film, that it has more of a relevance with women across the world, and that it perfectly encapsulates what it's like to be a young woman trying to find who she really is in the world. I think that in that regard, this film excels. If there were some things I did not like about this film, it would be the weird instances of hip millennial 2018 moments such as a dab or something similar to that, or specific camera placements throughout the film. The cinematography is not really that special. Nothing the camera does really screams art, but this movie still does amazing things with its story and performances that the positives overshadow these tiny negatives. Please go see this film. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10.
Also, thank you for watching the video, and please subscribe and like and hit the like button because we appreciate it, and thank you, and bye bye.
Gucci!